Baladash Malanor. It's good to see you again. I hope this week's proved fruitful and you've gotten a lot done, and now it's time for you to rest. Well, first thing I'd like to do is to take a few moments to thank little Cadence and my daughter Elizabeth for making a video for me. It was really sweet. It's one of my favorites, that's for certain, and I couldn't tell you how happy I am when I watched it. I watched it late at night as well, and I keep on playing it and playing it and playing it, and I get no end of pleasure watching it because she is so sweet, and my daughter's just wonderful and is raising a wonderful little girl, and I couldn't be more blessed by having them both in my life. And I wish they were here where I lived, but I understand, them being where they are. And I wish I could be there where they lived as well. I mean, one day I'm sure I'll move back, but not right now. Well, I'm sitting in the room which I now call the official Californian Embassy, the Embassy of California. I thought since Texas has one, California should have one. And well, there's a little bit of California living here. I mean, though, really, I'm only an hour away from California, driving, so it's not so bad. You just hop in the car and say, hey, let's go to California, and we're off. And we're in California, on the outskirts of California. And we just crossed the line and we're in California. And it does remind me of when I was in Kenya, because they have that equator line in Kenya. And in Kenya, at the equator, they have people who show you the way the water moves. I'm trying to think now. The water moves, well, I can't remember if it moves clockwise or counterclockwise, but in Kenya, when they take you to the equator, that middle line through the earth, they have people on the ground there with 5-gallon buckets of water, and they swirl the water around and show you, on this side this is how it swirls, or on that side that's how it swirls, and you even get a little certificate saying I've been to the equator. I mean, it was mad when I saw that. I was like, whoa, that was kind of trippy. But really, I wasn't in Kenya to be watching water flow through a bucket. We were on safari, yeah! Stayed in a place with, they had alarms in the bedrooms, which was really funny. See, the hotel itself was built in a treetop, literally a treetop. It's got the branches of the tree coursing through the hotel. I mean, they've got structures beneath it now, but it is literally a treetop with a trunk of tree growing through it and everything. And I think the hotel is called Treetops. One of the claims to fame of that hotel, besides being in the treetops, is that the young Princess Elizabeth, another Elizabeth, climbed the tree with her husband Philip, and when they left Treetops, she came out of the tree a queen. I mean, that's not a good way to become a queen, on your holiday with your husband, but that's what happened to me. That's what the claim to fame is for the hotel. When a princess came down a queen. And they even have a royal suite there. You can see the little sign on the door, with the story of it, and it's interesting. It's a bit of English history in the middle of Kenya. But it's a nice hotel, and these alarms, I was going to tell you about these alarms. They have these alarms in the bedroom, right? And on one side of the hotel, they have a watering hole for the animals to come get water in, and it's lit up. And then there's a second watering hole at the back of the building, at the back of the hotel, and it's not as lit up as the one towards, I guess I'd call it the front of the hotel. But they have this buzzer system, and this buzzer system, when an animal enters the proximity of the watering hole, the buzzers are set off in the bedroom, so you're alarmed in the bedroom. You know, you hear zzz, zzz, and they actually have kind of a code for what animal is at the watering hole. So you go bzz, 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 and you come out, and they give you blankets to wrap up in, and you can lean against the railings, and you can see what animal's at the watering hole. And well, when I saw it, it was an elephant. And then the second time I saw it, it was a rhinoceros. The rhinoceros, though, didn't move. I mean, the elephant, when noticed there was movement up in on the balconies, I think it kind of sensed it and scampered off. Do elephants scamper? Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. But if elephants can scamper, they'll let it scampered off. But this rhinoceros, no. This rhinoceros was big and burly and getting water and wasn't going to move, and people were coming out of their bedrooms and on the balconies in blankets and all watching these rhinoceri at the watering hole. It was a good experience. I enjoyed it. I went to several hotels there. I even ate at a restaurant called Carnivore. I know for you vegetarians out there, it's not something you're interested in, and that's okay. I don't judge you. So please don't judge me because I eat meat. Though I am cutting certain meats out of my diet as we speak because of my beliefs about them. And I don't want to get on an ethical soapbox. That's quite boring. I know somebody who does, and quite boring. It's a yawn moment. But anyways, they serve zebra. I had crocodile. Yeah. And the menu had tons of different meat on it. But it all tasted really nice. You know, they gave you vegetables with your meat. You know, and it's not like, do you want to have some meat with your vegetables? No, it's like, do you want to have some vegetables with your meat? Because they really do pile it on, and they do wander around the restaurant with these huge swords, it looks like, these skewers, with meat on them. My life, I was like, whoa! And they come to your table and say, "Sir, would you like to try some warthog?" And I'm like, "Don't mind if I do." You know, and food was a big thing amongst the restaurant patrons, and it was reasonably priced, apparently. I don't know. I mean, I went to Kenya, did the safari, got to stay in some fantastic hotels, and you know, it was amazing. And there's a video downstairs, and in the video box, we have a cabinet with videos, for the videos. I mean, who still watches videos when there's DVDs? Well, I have video. And it was with the crew that went with me off into Kenya. Off into Kenya to sample the wares and everything. I mean, the hotels we went into, I don't think now I could afford to go into them because they're just too darn expensive. But man, they were really, really high priced. And so, I mean, it was great. Then, let's see, buzzer boxes. So the buzzers went off. We're out on the balcony, watching the rhinoceros. Then the rhinoceros finally decides to leave. As we're going down back into the bedrooms and everything, I get into my bedroom, and next door to my bedroom is one of my colleagues, and the doors are so you can't lock yourself out. Well, apparently my colleague locked themselves out, and I tell you what, it was hilarious to have to get to the hotel staff to let them back in, and they were like looking, going, well, how did you lock yourself out? You cannot lock yourself out of these doors. And apparently they did something to make the mechanism so that when they closed the door, it locked. But it was great. It was hilarious. There's a restaurant that we went to. I can't remember what hotel that was. And they had, you've heard people say cheeky monkey. They actually did have cheeky monkeys. It was unbelievable. You're eating in a restaurant, and on the roof you've got monkeys looking down at you, and on the sides you've got monkeys looking through the windows at you, and you're just waiting for one to bust one window and get in and, you know, have some food off your plate. I mean, they were civilized. They were civilized. Not as civilized as a child I knew. Now, when I was traveling, I went to Euro Disney. I loved the park. It's a great park. Since I, am born in a Disney park. I know Disney. I'm familiar with Disney in the U.S. But Disney Europe was quite interesting. So I'm sitting there at this barbecue place in Disneyland Paris, and with some friends, and this little child wanders up as we're all talking, and he starts nicking French fries off my plate. And his family aren't sitting but a few tables down, and his mother all of a sudden clocks him and watches what he's doing. And somebody gave me a nudge and goes, "Hey, look what he's doing. That child's doing to you." I'm like, "What?" I look down, I look at the child, and the child's mother's like, it's right in front. So sorry, won't happen again." And I'm like, well, that's okay, because really, French fries, I don't need French fries. French fries are the enemy, yada 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 yada. But I tell you what, it was just so hilarious. It really was. It made me laugh so hard. I don't think I've laughed that hard in a long time. It's just like when I went to my first McDonald's in Europe. I ordered ordered a chocolate shake. And I worked in fast food. I've worked for In-N-Out Hamburgers in California. I did work for McDonald's in California. I worked for the Walt Disney Company. That's how I know Disneyland and love it. And so I've worked for them. And I've worked in a couple of the restaurants as well. And I know with those machines that produce soft serve ice cream and milkshakes, there is a cleaning procedure that you perform to make sure that there's no bacteria still lurking within the machine. And so, I thought, oh, everyone, will know what they're doing. So I ordered the chocolate shake, with my friends, and we're sitting at a table and we're eating, and I took a sip of my shake. I'm like, oh, this is nasty. And they look at me, so I walk up to the countertop and I say to the worker, I said, sorry, I hate to complain, but this chocolate shake tastes nasty. Can I have something else? And she says, it should be fine. And she whipped the cup from me. I had a straw in it. She whipped the cup from me. Not getting a straw of her own, whipped it from me, put the straw that I drank from in her mouth. And she says, it tastes fine to me. And I was like, you know, big red alert button, someone is going to give it back to me. And, you know, their lips touched the straw that touched my lips, thinking, girl, you're grody. You're just so gross for even doing that. That was ridiculous. And I said, well, you know what, I really am not into that shape. Can I please either have my money back for it, or can I have a large Diet Coke? And I got the Diet Coke. But my friends here with me thought it was absolutely hilarious that I had the nerve to go up to somebody and say, oh, that's nasty. And that's what they said. They were joking with me, and I'd not heard the end of it for quite some time. You know, upsetting my sensitive delicacies. Is that the word? Upsetting my, I don't know. It was so gross, and turned my stomach when she put my straw in her mouth. And I mean, I've seen some really strange things, but that had to take the biscuit. It really did. And, you know, I've always been wary after that experience from having a milkshake, just because I don't think they know how to clean the machines. If I'm feeling really desperate to have one, I have one, but that's like once in like a great while. And and Burger King. Oh, don't get me started on that. If you live where you have a Burger King, be careful. Make sure you watch what they're doing with their hands and stuff. You know, if you see one guy coming out of the bathroom, make sure he looks like he's washed his hands at least once, if not twice. I was at a Burger King, and I thought nothing of it. And then after that, I got really, really ill. I had to call the doctor out. The doctor's like, I think you got food poisoning, mate. I'm like, how can I? Okay. And for the longest while, I stayed away from Burger King. It was thinking it wasn't worth getting ill again. I'm like, seriously, this is redunculous. I'm not going to have another repeat of the McDonald's, you know, where it's nasty. I mean, I'm glad I didn't catch anything from McDonald's, because, I mean, if she was sipping anything from straws of other customers and they were taking it back, it just, it's just, does not bear thinking about. But then again, in Europe, I think things are, they do have their codes of health codes, where they have codes where they have to do this, wash their hands thoroughly, they have to throw away things that are used. I mean, just basic hygiene practices of hygiene. But man, oh man, it is just really super silly that they didn't bother to take time to listen to a customer, or take time to wash their hands. You know, and it's just really funny. It really is. I mean, I think the people in Kenya were more aware of cleanliness issues than anywhere else. Speaking of Kenya, another funny story from Kenya. My dad, he was avid keeper of tropical fish, and he had African cichlids, which are nice fish, very beautiful fish. And they grow to a nice size and everything. Then we were out for lunch somewhere, I can't remember the hotel name. They've they have a hotel, and the restaurant's actually sitting on a balcony that overlooks part of the savannah, of whatever they call it, the savannah. I don't know what the park calls it, but they can see flamingos on that side, on the right side, and then from the right side, from the left to the middle side, you can just see nothing but grassland. And so we're eating there, and we let the head person order for us, and we got a sampling of everything, basically, because we were there on business. I should say, we were in Kenya on business, but we weren't for pleasure, although it does sound like it was for pleasure, taking a safari and everything, but it was for business. And they fed us African cichlid, and I put my hand over my mouth and was laughing. Like, I just looked down at it going, interesting, you know, and everyone kind of looked at me and was like, why is that so funny? And I said, well, my dad has these kind of fish back home in his tank of tropical fish, and I'm gonna eat one. And when I got home, we all had a big laugh about it, thinking, you know that our pets are sometimes people's food, you know, without noticing it. But it was a good tasting fish. I will say it was nice and tasty. And I don't like fish usually, but it was nice. It really was. Prepared very well. No bones. It was great. It really was great. Alright, well then I think I've talked enough. But I've not forgotten. I've got the book here. Let me get the book out. Hold on. Book, come out. Questions from the Game of Life. Now, last time I asked you a question, I asked if you could live or inhabit the world of one video game or computer game, what would it be? And I got response. I got some responses, I think. And it's now my turn to tell you where I'm going to inhabit. Well, it shouldn't be any surprise to people who know me. I've always been a big fan of the World of Warcraft. So that's the name of the video game. The World of Warcraft. But what world in the World of Warcraft? Because there are two. Well, I'm not going to say Azeroth, unfortunately, because Azeroth is boring. And there's much, much better places, much better planet to live on. And that's why I'd inhabit Draenor. Draenor would be my home. Though I come from Silvermoon City, after the Scourge destroyed it, I would be one of the brave ones that followed our prince to Draenor. And in Draenor, I wouldn't live anywhere near the Scryers, because they're blood traders. They really are. They really are blood traders. Can't stand them. No. But then I'd live in Nagrand. The sweeping plains, the crystal formations, the just the beautiful cliffs and waterfalls, and yeah, there are things there that aren't so nice, but you know, if you just had your own little wyvern, little flying wyvern taking up to the bits of rock hanging in the air, and these bits of rock hanging in the air are covered with grass, and they have waterfalls, and just sit beside the waterfall, watch the water go into the planet. That'd be beautiful. I'd be happy there. And that's where I'd go. Draenor. Nalgorond. I mean, I know people said, oh, probably thinking, what a waste, what a waste. Well, it's not a waste. Not a waste at all. It's a lovely, lovely place to live. And I'd want to live there. Sure, we have a problem with the neighbors. And hey, what place doesn't? Anyways, now for your next question. Okay, you ready for this one? Are you sure? I'm gonna read it. If you were to pick one moment in history when all things considered, the world was better off, which would it be? So, you're going to pick one moment in history when all things considered, the world was a better place. Which moment in history would you choose? So, in the comments, and the comments below, the book back away to our little hiding space there, so it's there. So, if you would choose that, give us your answer in the comment section below. Don't forget to quickly click that like button, as Philip DeFranco says, and subscribe, and keep on smiling, because you know, when you smile, everyone smiles with you. Shorelaron. May the eternal sun guide us. Peace out, my little twiglets.